It's 2-9. Now, 1 in 3 Australian marriages end in divorce. But for many couples, the financial cost of the split can be the biggest heartache. And dividing up assets, working out child support and ending up with enough money to pay the bills can seem impossible.
Not to mention it's all very stressful, all very emotional, but you're not alone in finding it hard. Last year, the topic of finance and divorce was typed into the Google search engine over 350,000 times. So how do you get through the financial minefield? Financial advisors Wilson and Anna Laura Luna have come up with a simple guide for divorcing couples. Good morning to you. Now Wilson, is there a winner and loser in divorce settlements, in property settlements? Do men often come off with more?
Here's the interesting bit. I mean, obviously there's no losers, there's no winners out there, because it's one of those situations where we end up dividing what used to be owned by both. And interestingly enough, depending on the male will generally win out in terms of, obviously, if the female ends up, or the wife ends up taking care of the kids, she'll, generally speaking, probably get the property, so she'll become more asset rich through property, whilst in his case he'll have more disposable time, so his income will be higher, but at the same time there's child support. Whilst the female on the other side might, because she has to take care of the kids and bring them up, she'll miss out on work time, which in turn will generally lower her superannuation. So there's really no definite winners, and there's different sides of it that each person, I suppose, loses out on. So unfortunately there isn't an upside in terms of do you come out better or not. No, both of them sort of suffer that.
Okay, so then when it comes to the nitty-gritty, dividing up the assets, child support, etc., etc., what's the biggest mistake that couples make?
It's really trying to control those emotions, because it's the time where there's so much going on in your life, and you really need to take stock and seek advice, not sign anything that you're not prepared to without seeking the advice of legal counsel, financial advisors, and also looking at government agencies that might direct you in the right direction. So not taking those steps before you take action is very important.
We always say, when times like that happen, it's one of those times where, the mantra across the book is, when emotions are high, generally intelligence is at our lowest, and obviously divorce is one of those areas where, unfortunately, for many, it's one of those times in life where it's very hard to control the emotions. So take stock, take control, and don't make any decisions irrationally. That's sort of the message there when it comes to...
Okay, give us some tips on how to get through it. You've got some for us. Yeah. Run us through them.
Number one, obviously keep your emotions, where possible, don't make any decisions on a highly emotional guard.
Yes, access resources. There's so many resources available in terms of government agencies that will be willing to talk to you free of charge, and also see legal counsel and financial advisors when you can.
Yeah.
Try to avoid lawyers.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting with the lawyers, when we interviewed them in our research, there was 2 things that came out from them, which was, number one, how to reduce cost, and they said, number one, that they generally, sometimes they'll get used as counsellors. Now, they're there for a different specific purpose, but unfortunately during that time, people will use them for that emotional side of it, which ends up costing them a lot. And number 2, they said that the costs would explode because they haven't got all their paperwork together, so they end up outsourcing the simple paperwork when they could do a lot of that work themselves and save themselves a small fortune on that side of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, good to talk to both of you. Thank you, Wilson, Anna Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And all the information is in a new book. It's called Real Money Advice for Divorce. And if you want the details, here's the book. Just head to our website.
Just ahead